All right, back in the weight room here at Pleasant Valley with Coach Nix. And Coach, you guys went on the road last week, took on a perennial power in Pisgah, a flat-out fantastic football game, one possession game right there in late in the third quarter. Coach ended up coming up on the short end of the stick, but I'm sure you have a lot of positives and some negatives to talk about that game.
Definitely. The biggest thing, I was proud of our kids at the level of competition that they competed at, especially in the run game. I felt like defensively, we held the run game at check. The pass game, we had some holes there, and hats off to Pisgah. I mean, those guys competed at a high level, very confident team, and that doesn't come just overnight. He has so many kids. I think there's 8 or 9 kids that's been starting since the 9th grade. And so to me, that's what builds confidence is, and we have some players on our team right now that they've come out and they've got the body of a junior, but the playing experience of a 9th grader. And so what I'm most proud about with our team is everything that we saw on film that we messed up on is fixable things. So it wasn't, there's very few plays that it was lack of effort. I'm not saying that every play, there wasn't a few here or there, that effort was the issue, but most of the time it's stuff that's fixable. It's stuff that we got exposed, and that starts with me, and we just got to do a better job of coaching them up and getting them ready for that. Somehow we got to take a player that looks like a junior, or that is a junior, but he's got playing experience of a 9th grade. We got to catch him up. We got to catch him up fast, and I'm excited about that. And so sometimes when things don't go your way, the excitement that you get inside of you to help a kid grow, and that kid's matching that excitement. Like, this weekend, the DBs, we were texting back and forth in a group message, and there is no doubt that those guys will come to work this week. They'll come to work this week and they'll fix their issues because they're winners. And that's what I love about the coaching staff and the players. Like, it's not a pity party in there. Hey, we lost. It's, hey, let's learn from it. Let's see what the mistakes are. Let's go get a drill to fix those mistakes, and let's get back to work on Monday.
Yeah, that's what you guys are going to do. And Coach, you just said something. I want to gear it down and stay right here for a moment on. You didn't have to do a lot of non-effort coaching, things like that. Guys is doing things that are correctable mistakes. How good is that to watching you guys compete against a Pisgah who's been an elite team for the last 3-4 years? I'm talking about high-end top 10 team. But to sit there and have guys making coachable mistakes, it's not an effort thing. It's just some things that you got to tweak here and there to get corrected. You ain't got to go in and blow it up and start over, so to speak.
And and that's really encouraging. Here's the thing, like from week 0 with West End, the word that we've been going back to a lot is focus on your details of the plays. And sometimes when you play somebody, and let's say that you had more talent, you might get away with some of those detailed things. You had 10 times the effort of another team. You had more talent in the team. You can get away with some of those things. But then all of a sudden, when the talent's equal and the effort's equal, you better rely on details. You better rely on details. And there were some things that, yes, they're fixable, but I think our players understand now when everything is equal on that and you're in a heavyweight fight with somebody, you got to fall back on 4 times 3 is 12. Man, it's a fact, and I don't care how foggy things get, no matter if I'm up or down, no matter if Mike Tyson's hit me in the face and my plan ain't working, I still got to know that 4 times 3 is 12 and I got to go to work. And there were some times where we went to that mentality where it was a physical ball game and you know your assignment, but you let them get the best of you and not think clearly. And then there was times where you fought back on that. You didn't, and that's what I love about this team. We never stayed in that foggy haze the whole time. There was just certain plays that we wasn't as focused in details as we needed to be, and they took advantage of those. And so that's what we've got to do. We've got to limit our lack of focus on some things because you don't know when those big plays are coming.
Coach, when you assess your team and you're sitting here and you're talking about some guys who absolutely have competed at the highest level, how much more comfortable are you now than just say a few years ago with this program overall? You know, the fact that you even got juniors out here, they're out here right now. Those are guys maybe not even been out here a few years ago, but the program as a whole, how much more comfortable and more confident, so to speak, are you in the program now?
Well, I think there's a big thing that after that game was over, our kids were not happy that they competed at a high level. Our kids were angry that they didn't win. And that's what I'm most proud about.
That says volumes.
That says that they're angry that they didn't play their best. I'm angry that we didn't coach our best. And so we're at a different level than we were 2 or 3 years ago where, hey, we just made a good showing. You know, this team right here is not about a good showing. You know, we did not play at our best level, and on this Friday night, they played at one of their better levels, and that's the outcome when you don't play your best. And nobody blamed anybody. Nobody pointed fingers at players. Nobody pointed fingers at that. Everybody took on ownership. And to me, that's a sign of a team that's going to be dangerous because, you know, anybody can state a problem in life. How many of you can come up with solutions?
That's a good point.
And so when we start coming up with solutions on Sunday, players start texting, we start looking at, hey, here's something to simplify things. How do we make where our players have to think less and react more? And so that's some of the stuff that we're working on this week. And, you know, to have a team ready to go to practice on Monday and you're angry because you lost, man, that's what I'm proud of.
That's a blessing all in itself.
It is because like today's going to be a good practice. It hadn't started, but I know it's going to be a good practice because they've already been priming.
Yeah.
They've already been priming. Coach, did you see clip 73? Why didn't I go to the flats right there? I don't know, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it this week.
Yeah. They're actually coaching and correcting themselves.
There ain't no doubt.
Definitely a positive.
Yes.
You don't get that everywhere.
Yeah.
Coach, to switch gears and talk about your upcoming opponent, they got their first victory last Friday night, and I believe Ashley, their quarterback, threw for like 370 or something. Yeah. No better team for you to play Pisgah to prepare for a passing team coming up this week in Sandrock.
There's no doubt.
How do you keep your guys, the old cliche you see in college football every week, coming off a hard game and then they roll into town and play a team that, you know, quote unquote, is not, you know, on the same caliber as a Pisgah, obviously, but your guy, it don't matter who you're playing, faceless opponent. How do you keep your guys with that faceless opponent?
I think we just work on our weaknesses. You know, and that's what we don't look ahead to anybody. We don't, you know, yes, we got an opponent this week and it's Sandrock and they've got a really good team. And I mean, you can watch clips and see that. I mean, their quarterback, he can spin the ball very good. He's good under pressure. He can run the ball. So, I mean, you got a dual threat in that. But, you know, like Monday is all about us. It's not about anybody but fixing us. And so today we go out there and we go to work on stuff that we need to work on. And, you know, because Russ starts from the inside out. And so we want to make sure that we're taking care of us first. And so when we go out there today, it's all about correcting us. What are our drills to get us back to what we're doing? And, you know, some of it is what is going on in your detail part. Okay, was it your angle that you took? Was it the fact that you didn't know what was going on that coverage? Was it the motion that confused you? And getting to, if you get to the why of something, then you can start coming up with the solution part. And so you got to have players that'll open up to you. And you know, I love our Monday. You know, the players get to watch film with their position coaches. We'll go out there and practice those mistakes. And so then after that, now we move on. Like Tuesday is a move-on day, and now we're all about the opponent, but Monday's all about us.
Coach, you're familiar with Coach Nelson too? I remember a few years ago, you guys played them in a jamboree. He was OC there at Collinsville that year, I believe. I think he was, and then went on to Sylvania. But how awesome is it to go against a guy like a Coach Nelson? It's a offensive background coach, and he's going to challenge you. And like you said, every blade of grass, they're going to. You got a quarterback that can run, he can throw.
Yeah, I mean, he's utilizing the players that he's got, and he's doing a good job with that. And you know, and we've got our work cut out. You know, there is no there's not one coach at this school or not one player that's sitting there going, oh, this is an easy win here, this is an easy win there. There ain't no such thing as that in this region and on our schedule. And so we've got to come out and we've got to prepare just like every week. And sometimes I think these big games like last week, you start trying to get, and some of the players we had to pull aside and say, you got outside of your element. You trying to do somebody else's job and your job, but you know what you wound up doing? Neither job. Neither job. So how about this? Let's just do our job to the best of our ability and trust that my teammate's going to do his. Then if we need to hold the teammate accountable to do their job, but don't get to trying to do too much. And I think some of that we're going to see today. And once everybody gets back to doing their job, believing in their teammate beside them, we're going to be a good team.
Coach, I love the rust starts from the inside out. That's a great quote. And talk about that a little bit for people who don't understand the different layers of that quote right there. And that's a very true statement.
Yeah, because in a loss, like you nitpick it more. Everybody's nitpicking more. I mean, you might have the parent today nitpick today yet, but now all of a sudden he's nitpicking.
He's got a Facebook.
Yeah, you might have the whoever, like it could be a band parent, a cheerleading parent, it could be whoever is nitpicking because they went to the game and, if we'd have just done this. Mm-hmm. And so now if you ain't careful, you hear that at home, and then it starts seeping into your program. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe we should have done this. Maybe we should have done this. Well, maybe everybody should watch film and see what everybody should do.
Yeah, there you go.
So sometimes, like, as a player, we got to look at it and we got to say, players and the coaches, that's what matters the most. Mm-hmm. Like we have got Coach Hallmark used to tell us all the time, the big eye don't lie. Mm-hmm. And you get in there to watch film, you can say, well, Coach, I did this, I did that. Well, what does the video say you did? Mm-hmm. The video shows that you didn't do this. And then, and in our game plan, we all got to take ownership. Yes, I don't know of a coach that coaches a perfect game. No. You're going to make mistakes, but it's part of it, moving on with it and learning from them. And, and the same thing as players. It's okay to admit that something went wrong and, hey, they got me on that play. Well, I got to move on to the next one. And I think that sometimes in society and just in general, it's so easy to point that finger. Mm-hmm. But just remember, when you point it forward, you got some pointing back at you too.
That's right.
And so we always preach that. Don't let rust take over our team. Don't let rust take over our team. If you want to blame somebody, you blame me. Mm-hmm. If that's what you feel like you need to blame, then you blame me. Don't blame one of the assistant coaches, coordinators, you blame me. And I think as players, they need to see that, hey, I'll take the blame. Guys, I'm not perfect. There's some things that we'll overcome, but you know what? You ain't gonna find anybody work harder than this staff and these players. And that's what I want to sell to our kids, that when we make mistakes, man, how do we overcome those? Because that's everyday life.
That's right. Man, that'll get you down the road in life too, if you have that mentality. Yeah. You stop the blame game and start taking responsibility.
Because it's so easy to do that. The hard part is coming together with a group of men and let's come up with a solution.
That's right.
A positive solution to move forward.
That's exactly right. So, well, Coach, before I shut these down, I always like to kick it back and let you finish it out with it could be anything program related. Anything program related?
Yep. Just excited about the whole state of the program. Our volleyball team's ranked number 1 in the state. Band's doing a good job. Our cheerleading program's doing a good job, and we got some new faces in those programs there. Cross country's doing a good job. So our fall sports right now, everybody's working together, staying together, and I think unity is so important in a small school. Root for each other, pull for each other, but everybody's succeeding together.
That's clicking on all cylinders here in Pleasant Valley, Alabama.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, people, I remember when my aunt used to teach here, she used to always say, well, it's over near Jacksonville. Like, everybody knows where it's at now.
Yeah.
Pleasant Valley is in Pleasant Valley. It ain't near Jacksonville. It's Pleasant Valley. Coach, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.